Hey learning partners, Kurt back with you today to talk about rounding to the nearest hundred. Let's get started. Here's what the Common Core says we have to know about rounding to the nearest hundred. It says we need to use place value understanding to round whole numbers to the nearest 10 or 100. We're just going to focus on 100 today. That's a good standard. Here's what we're going to do more specifically. We're going to round numbers to the nearest 100 using a strategy that allows us to own it, that allows us to make this concept our own. Because it's not somebody else's, this is going to be our concept. But teacher, why do we have to do this? What are some everyday applications for this? Why do we have to learn it? Well, you need to learn it when you go shopping to know if you have enough money or if you need to hit up the ATM. You need to know it if you're driving long distances so we don't have to say, are we there yet? Are we there yet? For paying bills. You're hearing that money thing come up again and again, aren't you? If you need to manage your money the right way, what you do, you need to know how to round because you're not always going to have a calculator. And playing board games. Hey, if you want to win at Monopoly, you got to know how to round. So, what do you need to know in order to round correctly to the nearest 100? You need to know that there are certain numbers that are kind of weak and they can't move the number in front of them. Those numbers are 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And how are we going to remember that? We're going to look at this guy in the mirror. He's very weak, isn't he? He's got no muscles on his biceps here. I can't even draw him in. It wouldn't look natural. 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4, they don't have power. Got it? Close your eyes and memorize that. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 don't have power. All right, you already got it. Then, the flip side of that, we have 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Those numbers do have power. And you can see this beefy dude. He can move a lot of stuff. So the numbers 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 will be able to move some numbers. If you don't know what that means yet, don't worry, I'm going to show you. So, we also need to know our place values. We need to know how to find the hundreds place. Remember, place values are opposite of reading a book or a sentence. When we read this sentence, we started on the left-hand side. When we do a math problem, addition or subtraction or rounding, we start at the right-hand side with the ones place. So we have the ones place, and then we have, yeah, you got it, I heard you. Then we have the tens place, and then we have the hundreds place. We're going to focus on this place value right here, rounding to the nearest 100. Okay, let's get started. The first step to round to the nearest 100 is to just, like I said, find the hundreds place. So in both these numbers, I'm going to go ahead and mark the hundreds place. Now you can underline it, you can circle it, you can do whatever you want to do, but I'm going to, in my strategy here, I'm going to underline it. So we found the hundreds place. Why the hundreds place? Because that's what we're rounding to, the nearest 100. Second step is to circle the neighbor. Step 1 and 2 together. We underline the hundreds place, and then we circle the neighbor. We underline the hundreds place, and then we circle the neighbor. As simple as that. Next step is we have to, ooh man, this is weird. We have to ask the numbers. Yeah, we got to talk to numbers. We have to ask these numbers that we just circled if they have power. Close your eyes. Look at the skinny dude. Look at the dude with muscles. Underneath the skinny dude is the numbers. Yeah, 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Under the guy with muscles is, yeah, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. We're going to use that right now. So we underline and we circle, and then we ask the person that we just circled the number if they have power. The number 4, unfortunately, does not have power. Well, what does that mean? That he can't move anything. So the numbers 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4, they cannot move. They're going to try to push that number in front of them up 1, but they can't because they don't have power. They try and try and try, but they can't. So the 4 pushes on the 2, but since he doesn't have power, the 2 just stays the same. Simple as that. Underline the 2 here, circle the 7. Ooh, now we have a different story because 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 all have power. That's the big dude in the mirror with all the muscles. So the 7 I see is right here, and it does have power. So the 7's going to push on that 2 that we underlined in the hundreds place, and he's going to turn him into a 3. He's going to push him up 1. So this one the 2 stayed the same because the 4 does not have power to move it. This one, the 2 went up 1 because the 7 had enough power to push him up. All right, we're already on the last step. So now we're going to put it all together. The numbers to the right, put an R for right, of the underlined number become zeros. So we have a picture here of an underlined number to the right become zeros. So what does that mean? Let me show you. So we underline, we circle, we ask that number, hey 4, do you have power? 4 says no, but he still pushes and tries and tries and tries, but he can't. So he turns into a 2. Now our last step says the numbers to the right of the underlined number, well, right here's my underlined number, turn to zeros. They all become zeros. So my 4 becomes a 0 and my 5 becomes a 0. So 245 to the nearest 100 rounds to 200. Let's look at this one. So I underline my 2, I circle my 7, very good, and I ask that 7 a question. I ask him if he has, I ask him if he has power, and 7 does have power. We already established that. If a number has power, it can move the number in front of it up by, you got it, we move it up by 1. What comes after 2? 3. And then our last step says the numbers to the right of the underlined number must become zeros. So I like to sometimes put an arrow there also. So my 7 becomes a 0. And my 3 becomes a, man, you guys are good. It becomes a 0. I think you guys got this. Let's do a couple more practice problems just to be sure. Talk through it with me if you want. We're going to round all these to the nearest hundreds place. So I underline what it tells me to round to, the hundreds place. I circle the neighbor, and then I have to ask that neighbor a question. Do you have power, 8? And the 8 says, yeah, I'm right here under the muscle man. I have power. So numbers that have power, push on that number in front of them. They push them up by 1. So what comes after 7? 8. And then this is my favorite part. All the numbers to the right of the underlined number become zeros. The 8 becomes a 0, and the 9 becomes a 0. 789, rounded to the nearest 100, becomes 800. Beautiful thing, isn't it? All right, let's try this one. Nearest 100 again. Underline the 3 because it's in the hundreds place. Circle the 4 and then ask him a question. Hey 4, do you have power? Oh, 4 says, no, I don't have power. He's right here. He's with the skinny dude who can't move anything. So 4 tries to push though. He says, I'm going to try. I'm going to try. And he just can't. Oh, that's so sad. So the 3 stays the same. And everything to the right of the underlined number turns to zeros. Yes, so we have a 4 that turns into the 0, and the 5 turns into 0. 345 rounds to 300. Yeah, we got a couple more, I promise you. The more we do, the easier it's going to get. So, underline, hundreds place, circle, ask it. Does it have power? 2 doesn't have power. He tries to push and he can't move it. We drop it down because it stays the same because you can't move him. Everything to the right turns to zeros. It rounds to, you got it, 100. At 891, underline the 8, circle the 9. Ask the 9 a question. Hey 9, do you have power? The 9 says, yeah man, I got a lot of power. I'm right here. So the 9 pushes on the 8. We add 1 every time. And 8 plus 1 is 9, and everything to the right of the underlined number turns to zeros. The 9 turns to a 0, and the 1 turns to a 0. Simple as that. Last one, I promise. 657. So we underline, and we circle, and we ask that 5. Hey 5, do you have power? He says, yeah, I'm right here with the muscle man. I have power. So we push on that 6. It turns into a 7. It's 0 and 0. Everything to the right turns to zeros. Watch out, guys. Watch out. Rounding can be tricky. Here are the things that most students have mistakes with. Not most students. If they have a problem, if a student has a problem, these are the things that they struggle with. They round to the wrong place value. If it says nearest 100, make sure you're underlining the hundreds place. If it says nearest 10, make sure you're underlining the tens place. You got to memorize these numbers right here, guys. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They move the number in front of them. They have power. 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4, they don't move anything. They try, but they just can't. And then lastly, the numbers to the right of the underlined digits must be zeros. If you can watch out for those things that trip kids up, you're going to be good to go, guys. And that is all I have for you today. So until next time, keep up the good work, and I am out.